This video is brought to you by Dr. Kristen R. Bromley's Guitar Method Book Series and Online Music Academy.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kristen Bromley. Welcome to my online academy. It's so great being here helping you with playing the guitar. This is a Technique Tuesday lesson. So the technique tidbit that I'll be throwing out in this lesson has to do with finger picking. So we're going to talk through a little bit of the finger picking technique, and I'm going to give you some exercises that are really great at helping to develop the finger independence. We can work on good tone and just get a good relaxed feel in our plucking hands. So we're going to go ahead and dive in. Now, as I've talked about in all of the lessons where I talk technique specific, it's important that we remove tension. So the shoulder needs to be nice and relaxed, not up, not out in some way. Our hand comes around naturally to the guitar. We need to find a place for our guitar to sit. I've got a strap. It's really easy in this position. There's the classical position, but however we're sitting, we need to find a way that when our arm comes around, it's nice and relaxed. Now, in the right hand, there's a natural break to our wrist. We don't want to overextend the wrist. You can feel tension if you do, and we don't want to have it collapsed back or pushed back. You can also feel tension. The fingers work best when we just have this nice, relaxed positioning. And of course, there can be a little bit of play in that as we're playing, but that nice, relaxed position is what we want to use, and that gives our fingers plenty of room to go through. The strength in the hand is in the grabbing motion. That gives our hand plenty of space to do a grabbing motion, which is the motion we're going to use as we pluck the strings. So as we come around, the main joint of my hand sits for just general tone halfway between the saddle and where the fretboard begins, which for me on most of my guitars is right at the back of the sound hole. So the hand comes around right about there, and then if I just come up nice and gradual to that nice natural positioning, I'm going to have this joint in the air suspended up above the strings in that way. Then my fingertips come back, and the fingertips are going to be directly under this joint, and that's where they need to meet the guitar, and that gives me room to squeeze through, basically pulling most of my strength from the main joint, though I'm going to get my fingers moving with the next joint as well, and that's where most of the movement in the fingers might end up happening is there, but the strength is coming from that large joint in the hand. So as I come around, in standard positioning for arpeggios, our index finger plucks the G string or the third string, our middle finger plucks the second string or the B string, and our ring finger plucks the high E string or the first string, and then our thumb plucks the other three strings, the fourth, fifth, and sixth, which are the bass strings. Usually when we're doing arpeggios, which is what we're going to work on at the moment, it's a great thing to do, work with arpeggios. It gets our hands moving and it gives us something fun to play with chord progressions and in songs. So we're going to be working that here in this exercise. But as we're working those, usually our thumb is going to pluck the lowest note of a chord or the bass note of a chord, and those are almost always on those low three strings, 4, 5, and 6. Now there's alternate positionings. Of course, we can move our index finger to the second fret or to the second string, and our middle finger to the top string, and then not use our ring finger. Our pinky moves with the ring finger, by the way. We're not going to be plucking with the pinky. And then the thumb would pluck the low 4 strings of the guitar. Or alternatively, we can move our index finger so that it plucks the D string, which is the 4th string, our middle, so it plucks the G string or the 3rd string, and our ring finger so it plucks the 2nd string or the B string, and then it can also reach up and catch that high string as needed. And then our thumb would catch the low 2 strings. So those are some alternate positionings. We're going to work though just in the standard positioning. So index is going to pluck the G string, middle is going to pluck the B string, and ring is going to pluck the top string. When we're playing fingerstyle pieces, we do a lot of arpeggio type motions, and we can do this, of course, in songs when we want an accompaniment pattern that's an arpeggio pattern or a broken chord pattern. These work really nice. Music sounds really great with them. Alternative to that, sometimes we will do techniques where we're plucking strings with the same exact finger. Or the string with different fingers, I should say. The exact same string with different fingers. And that's in more of our melodic style when we're playing a melody where we have notes that are happening on the same string. And that's a slightly different technique, but everything that we do with the arpeggios also applies to that. We use finger patterns as well to do that, but we're not going to work on that here in this moment. We're going to work with the arpeggios. So, just a little FYI here, I've got some patterns written on the board that I'm going to explain so you got some ideas on things to work on. But the letters that represent these fingers, thumb is represented by the letter P. This comes from Spanish, really, but it also crosses over with French and Italian. Those are the countries where the guitar started out, so that's why we use these letters. But P for thumb, I for index, M for middle, and A for ring. So that's the, I got a ring on that finger. That's one way to remember that. P is the only one that's capitalized. So when you see finger picking patterns, if you're not aware, when you see those written out, those are the letters. Those letters are telling us to pluck with those fingers, and we're going to do that with our fingers assigned to the said strings. So, okay, let's go ahead and look then at these great exercises. So we have 4 fingers. Well, we have a thumb and 3 fingers, but 4 different options for plucking the strings. It's really great. There's 6 different ways that we can do a combination of 4 plucks where we use each one of these one time. So the best one to start out with is thumb, index, middle, and ring. Some people refer to this as Pima. Now, I go through, when I'm working fingerstyle, working an arpeggio, I tend to go through things in a couple different steps. I always start out by working on a pattern with E minor. I use E minor because we're going to pluck the low 6th string with our thumb, and then we're going to pluck index, middle, and ring, the 2 strings where we need to put fingers on to play that chord when we're strumming. We're not plucking, so we don't have to worry about the left hand at all. So this is perfect because we can just worry about the right hand. So we go thumb, index, middle, and ring. Now with this one we can use something called planting. So we're going to play through thumb, index, middle, and ring, just plucking through with the thumb. We don't bend this joint as best we can. We just pluck down through, and then those fingers just come right on through, right on through. If you came around, I should mention that we're plucking off just the inside of the, not directly on the tip, but just a little bit to the side. If we were to pluck on the tip, we would come at the strings with our wrist turned. This creates all sorts of tension, not so good. Tension also restricts the freedom that our fingers have to move. So we're coming at it straight, which means we're going to be plucking a little bit off the sides of the fingers. If you got a little bit of nail, that's great. So you're going to have thumb, index, middle, and ring. You can pluck through just like that. Thumb, index, middle, ring. And then replant your hands. So what that means is, instead of us playing up here in the air, just floating around, we're actually going to have our fingers ready to go, touching the strings. And we can pluck through P, I, M, A. These are called free strokes because we're just unattached as we swing through. We've plucked the string and we've swung through. So P, I, M, A. My hand is unattached to the guitar. I reset it up. P, I, M, A. I reset up and go. Planting helps us gain control. When we're floating up in the air, going around, it's hard to find strings, doing all sorts of things. That's not so great if we want to build up speed and accuracy. So we just we can do this planting, play through it, and reset. Once I've played through with E minor, I usually work through different chord progressions. I have one up here on the board. G, E minor, C, and D is a particularly great one to do things with. So I could do G to E minor, to C, and to D, or I could do each one of those chords multiple times. So I could do 2 times. Then you could do E minor twice. We do C, and we do D. Now you will notice, I tripped a little bit there as I was talking with my middle finger, but you may have noticed that the thumb changed what string it was plucking. So we're always plucking the lowest note of the chord when we're playing a chord. For G, that was the low 6th string. For E minor, that was the low 6th string. For C, that was the 5th string. And for D, that was the open 4th string. So I apply it to a chord progression, at least one, sometimes multiple chord progressions next, and then I can actually apply it to songs if I want to. But it's great to just work it on E minor because we can relax, make sure we're breathing, and just breathing in deep and then getting things going with that right hand. We just worry about that, and then we can add in the chord progression. As we're working on things, it's always nice to minimize how many things we're doing at once as we're getting something down, and this allows us to focus in on our technique. So P-I-M-A. I started off as slow as I need to play it accurately, evenly, with good tone, and making sure that I'm relaxed using good technique. And then I just speed it up using a metronome's grade, and we can speed it up until we're playing it as fast as we can. So we can do that with each one of these. Now what's great is with that, just that combination of thumb, index, middle, and ring, there's 6 different ways that we can do this. So thumb, index, middle, ring is 1, and that's a great one to work. We can flip those last 2 and go thumb, index, ring, middle, thumb, index, ring, middle. So we work that one, same sort of thing. Slow and then just speed it up. And play it as fast as we want to get it going. And then work it through chord progressions, and then I can apply it to songs. We can start with the middle finger after the thumb. So with all of these, we're going to start with the thumb pluck. The thumb pluck is important because it gives us the bass note of the chord. So with all of these, we start with the thumb pluck, but then we have the different combinations we can do with our other fingers. So thumb, middle, index, ring. I can start with my middle finger, do index, ring, thumb, middle, index, ring. Or I could go the other way. Thumb, middle, ring, index. Thumb, middle, ring, index. I can also go with the ring finger after the thumb and go thumb, ring, index, middle. Or I can go thumb, ring, middle, index. Now after I get comfortable with these and even working through chord progressions, it works really great to combine different ones and create a string. So I could do P-I-M-A, P-M-A-I, for example. Just start creating different variations by combining 2. If you get comfortable with that, you could even do strings of 3 or 4 or more if you wanted to, and create them. But 2 works really great. Now, if we're looking at these things as 8th notes, P-I-M-A, like 1 and 2, and I could do one of these 2 times per measure, or a combination of 2 of them 1 time per measure. Say P-I-M-A, P-M-I-A, or something. I can do a combination of 2, and that's going to get me in 4/4 time, like P1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, which fills out a whole measure. And these make really, really great patterns that way. I can work them through the chord progression. So we've got all sorts of combinations. That puts us with the 1 and 2 and. Of course, I could just have 2 for 2/4. I can also create some triplet options as I work with this by plucking more than one string at the same time. So if we take the first 2 and pluck them together, I'd have 1 and 2 and. So there's a little bit of a pinching motion as I work thumb and index together. I could do that. I can do thumb and index, ring, middle, 1 and 2 and. I can also do thumb and middle together. Or thumb and middle together going the other way. Or I can do thumb and ring together. The other way. With that, you can do any 1-enda, 2-enda. It could be for 6/8 time. Just using this first one as an example. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. That would be naturally in 2/4 time. It would just be tripletizing things. So I could also do it with 3/4 time. 1 and 2 and 3 and, which also is going to sound like 9/8 with a 1 and 2 and 3 and 12/8 or 4/4 time. I could superimpose that into that. Of course, I could mix different ones together as well. So I can do the first two pinched together. I could also just do a pluck and then combine the next two, I and M. So P, pluck the next two together and then ring. Thumb, index, and middle together, ring. It's really great to work through finger independence, forcing two fingers to go together. I could do that with the next one where it's thumb and index and ring go together and then the middle. So that's going to give me some more options to work through. I could also alternatively do that with any of these, but I can do the last two plucked together. So thumb, index, middle, and ring together. All of these different options I could work individually with E minor and then work them through chord progressions such as the G, E minor, C, and D. It's a great one. But any chord progression, even chord progressions from songs, just any old chord progression you want to throw together, work them through chord progressions, and then I can create patterns that I want to use with songs as well. But this works finger independence. It gains control of my right hand and gives me the freedom. Alright, so that wraps us up for this lesson. I hope you keep having fun playing the guitar. Hope you have fun with these arpeggio exercises, which can make great finger picking patterns to play in music and through different chord progressions and so on. Of course, on Thursday, we'll have our Theory Thursday. On Saturdays right now, it's a mini-series coming out on flat picking, so lots of great things. We'll see you again. Take care. Keep having fun playing that guitar.
If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. For more in-depth lessons and to progress through a free guitar course, check out my Guitar 101 series on YouTube and my guitar method books, which all come with access to hours of in-depth video lessons. You can find more information about me and my products at kristenbromley.com. Take care.